Amanda became a household name back in the 1980s, 79, 80, around about that time, with Chrissy Latham. You remember that in Prisoner, one of the great shows on Channel 10 in those days. Her stage work has included Shirley Valentine, you remember, Educating Rita. She's had more than 50 theatre, film and TV credits to her name. And now Amanda Muggleton is reprising her role, the Helpman and Greenwood Award-winning role of Maria Callas in the brand new production of Masterclass. Amanda's on the line right now. Amanda, so nice to have you with us today.
Oh, Leigh, it's lovely to talk to you too. Thank you for having me on. I'm thrilled to be able to bring this show back, and in such a different form as well.
Is it?
Oh, yes. The last time I was here, it was done in what they call a proscenium arch, which is a box, and you, the audience, are the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Like an ordinary theatre. This time we're doing it immersively, which means we really do involve the audience. The play is called Masterclass, and although it is, obviously it's about Maria Callas and Aristotle Onassis and Jackie Kennedy, and Maria's first husband, who was Battista Meneghini, you, the audience, become the students in the class. Now, not to put anyone off, no one is going to be dragged up on stage and made a fool of. It's not that kind of, it's not a Barry Humphries thing.
I'm glad about that, yes.
But you, the audience, will be meters away from me and the marvellous opera singers that we've got in this show. There are three wonderful opera singers, and we've got Dobbs Frank being our pianist. Now, Dobbs Frank worked with the likes of Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim, and he's an American, and it's just been wonderful working with him. And we've got there's six people in the play, the three opera singers, the pianist, myself, and the stage hand who keeps coming on and annoying the hell out of me. It's very funny, and it's also very moving because, well, Maria Callas's life is like a Greek tragedy. Her whole life was like an opera in that, she was with Aristotle Onassis for 14 years and got pregnant with him, and he made her get rid of the baby. She always thought that they were going to get married. And after 14 years, of course, he dumped her for Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it broke her heart and her soul. And, of course, he was no more interested in opera than fly in the air. He was only interested in her status, enhancing him, because up until the time that he was with with Maria Callas, he had no status. He was a billionaire, of course, but nobody would touch him because he was virtually a peasant who made good with shipping. And society shunned him because it was new money. And so when he realized that Maria Callas was Greek like him, he wooed her and pursued her, even though she was a married woman, to Battista Meneghini, until she couldn't say no any longer, and they fell hopelessly in love. And so she left poor old Meneghini, who was 28 years older than her.
Wow.
And of course, Aristotle Onassis, I know they all called him an ugly little man, but sometimes ugly people are very attractive. And of course, money.
Yes.
Money is very attractive.
It attracts most people, doesn't it? Oh, goodness gracious. That's a wonderful story. And how this comes across on stage is even better again, isn't it? What drew you to the part originally?
Well, people don't always know that I went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, so I've always been surrounded by classical music and opera as well as theatre. I grew up with a family whose mother was Monica Sinclair, who always used to do the last night of the proms with Sir Malcolm Sargent and was great friends with Joan Sutherland.
Oh.
And so I've kind of had opera and classical music in my life from a very young child. I wasn't brought up by that family, but they lived almost next door to us, and so my family and their family were always together. And the story of Maria Callas it's a soap opera. I mean, she was like the Kardashians of today.
Yes,
Wherever
yes.
she went, this is in the 50s and 60s, and this play is set in the early 70s, when she really did do master classes at the Juilliard School in New York, when her voice was finished, mainly due to a broken heart and Onassis keeping her out late every night and smoking around her because he didn't give two hoots about her wonderful voice or her well-being. And so her singing career was stellar, absolutely stellar, but only lasted for 10 years because not only did she decide to do Wagner one day and Mozart the next because she had such an amazing voice. She could go from very, very heavy opera into very light opera. But she was with this idiot man who had no idea how precious the voice was. And he took her to parties, and back then, of course, everybody smoked wherever you went, in cinemas and parties, and there were no banning on smoking anywhere. And then, of course, he broke her heart and her soul. And so after 10 years, she just couldn't sing anymore. And so what most people do who have a great career, either in ballet or opera or indeed acting, although actors can go on a lot longer, you end up teaching. And so this is a true story of how she went into the Juilliard School and I think she did 18 of these master classes. So the play is called Masterclass.
It's a tragic story, isn't it, when you think about it?
Oh, God, Leigh, I can't tell you. We did a little performance yesterday for a very small invited audience just into the rehearsal room just to see how it's going. Because being immersive, I have to really interact with you, the audience. But I'll say it again, please don't be afraid. You're not going to be dragged up and made a fool of. But I will be picking certain people out and making them, giving them as an example.
Of the masterclass.
In the masterclass. And having a laugh with them and having a joke with them and maybe even sitting next to them. So it's not like a proper show that they saw in a proscenium arch where you can't touch me and I can't get near you. I will be literally sitting next to you, standing next to you. And the most exciting thing for the audience is that they will be very close to the opera singers. And if you haven't had that experience of hearing an opera singer very close up, which most of us don't, because they're always in a proscenium arch at the opera and they're untouchable, it's amazing to have the power of the voice that they train so hard for, to be that close to you. It's thrilling, is all I can tell you.
I can't wait to see this one. It's going to be brilliant.
Well, it's very, very funny because, and this is true, she really wasn't very good with words because she obviously was Greek, but actually she was born in New York, but is from Greek parentage and was taken back to Greece when she was only 12. And then her first husband was Italian, and her Italian is impeccable. And so she's got all these different accents. And so the accent I use is a combination of Greek, American, and Italian.
Wow. How do you do that?
I don't know, but it's wonderful. And I don't know why I'm telling you that, about her speaking voice. But all I can tell you is that it's going to be a ride and a half. It's not just going to be an ordinary play she wasn't very good with words. And so when she's teaching the students, she often says the wrong thing, but not meaning to hurt them or be funny or upsetting them, but just because she's got so many languages in her own head, she makes a faux pas all the time. And that's where the comedy comes from. She uses words in the wrong context sometimes.
She's probably trying to get them out so quickly and it jumbles up.
That's right. That's right.
This is a far cry from Prisoner for you, isn't it? Huh? Those days of Prisoner.
Oh, I loved doing Prisoner. I'm very proud.
We loved watching you.
In that. Yeah. I'm very proud of my work in that. There are lots of people who deny that they were ever in it, but I never deny it. It put me on the map. And I loved doing television. And it was great fun. And so many of them have gone, we've lost Sheila Florence, and
of
then
course.
only 2 weeks ago we lost Judith McGrath,
Yes.
who people will remember from All Saints playing, what was her name, Vi or Val?
The nurse Violet. Val, yes, Val, yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was gutted by that.
My word.
We're all getting older, and it's scary.
Well, you and I are around a similar age, and yes, it gets that way, doesn't
You
it?
mean 29?
Yeah, 29. I had my 28th birthday last week. I'm in my 29th year. The wrinkle cream's working quite well for me too for 29. How do you go with your wrinkle cream? All right. You coated on. The Prisoner, a great time, and of course that did set you up, didn't it, for other things here in Australia?
Yes, it did. It did. It was because of Prisoner that I got the lead in Steaming.
Yes.
All those years ago, and that was so outrageous.
It was, wasn't it?
That put me on the map again. But I always say thank you to Prisoner for that, because that's how I was discovered for Steaming.
Yeah, educating Rita and some great shows. Shirley Valentine, that's still around, isn't it? Yeah, still around. Yeah, you reprise this.
This is, to me, the greatest role I've ever played. The last time I was here, I did something called the Book Club, which was also great fun and almost immersive theatre in that, I was very close to the audience. But this one it's an operatic story. It is a Greek tragedy with so much comedy in it. They really get their money's worth for this play. It's not all, gloom and doom. And they hear about history. They'll hear about Jackie Kennedy and Onassis, which, he was...
Go back with all those famous names.
Yes. Oh, you hear about Joan Sutherland and Tibaldi and...
It'll be interesting.
All the great opera singers, they're all mentioned. The Rainiers and Gina Lollobrigida. Yeah.
Well, you're off to Perth, aren't you? Subiaco next week, the 16th of November.
We fly out on Monday, but back here next year.
Yes.
I think January the 6th we open at
I think so. It might be previewing January the 5th, that's the Friday.
Oh, you know more than I do.
Yeah, I think you're opening on the 6th. It's Monday to Tuesday, 6:30, and Wednesday, Saturday, 7:30, and Saturday afternoon matinee at 3. You'll be a busy girl.
But isn't that a wonderful time for shows?
Absolutely.
6:30, 7:30.
Yes.
I've just been in Sydney playing Helena Rubinstein, and nearly every show started at 8:15.
Too late.
People don't want that anymore. We're all too busy and too tired. And most people have got to work the next day.
Now, are you still doing classes up in Sydney?
What do you mean classes?
Didn't you used to have a drama class?
School.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I just couldn't do it, Leigh.
You couldn't do it?
We're too busy.
Yeah. I wonder how you fitted it all in.
I love teaching. I think teaching, you end up teaching yourself.
Yes, you do learn. Yes, you do.
You discover how you do things by passing stuff on. But I had to let it go.
Did you?
It was just... And also, it was too hard when I had to leave. I had a partner, but we had a whole drama school in Lane Cove, and I just couldn't keep doing it. And then she started getting upset with me because I had to keep saying, "I've got another job, I have to go."
Yes.
And she wasn't getting work, and it's sort of,
you have to part ways. No, that's a pity. Amanda, can't wait to see you with us one. It's at South Bank Theatre, a great venue, and you'll love it there too. It's the 5th of January and onwards, and you can book at the theatre, South Bank Theatre, right now. Amanda, great to catch up with you. It's my first time I've ever interviewed you. It's been on my radar for a long time.
Oh, I hope it's not the last.
But it won't be the last time.
You must come to the opening.
I will be there. I will be there for sure.
You will love it. I know you will.
And I'll say hello afterwards.
Oh, please do. Much love to you and all your listeners.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Amanda Muggleton.